So let's just practice how to make a sketch of the perspective projection of a very simple objects. So we're going to just do a 1-point perspective and 2-point perspective sketches. So this is a 1-point perspective sketching. So when do we use a 1-point perspective sketching? It's like you have a certain plane that you're looking at, and that plane is important. And other sides are not that important. They're like lateral sides of the object. They are not important, and just the frontal surface is important. Like you have a building, and on the in the facade, its frontal surface is has more features on it, and you want to emphasize that, and not the size. Size is just the walls. And then that's the case where you want to use a 1-point perspective. And it's very widely used in the interior design. Like in this case, there's a classroom here. Then all these lines, like the size of the tables, right? They're all parallel to each other. And in this case, they are kind of parallel to my eye direction, and that will be on this vanishing point. Okay, so these ceiling lights, they are parallel to each other, and also their directions are parallel to my eye direction, so they converge to the same vanishing point. Okay, so this it's the ceiling lines. Also, the directions are parallel to each other, and then also parallel to my eye direction. So they also converge to the same vanishing point. Okay, so if there's any other parallel lines in this uh, classroom, okay, that'll project it onto a random, not really random, but other vanishing point. But in this case, like a lot of lines are parallel to your view direction. Okay, so they all converge to the same vanishing point. Okay, so we can construct an XY plane, and the Z direction is my eye view direction. So let's say I want to sketch this object. Okay, so we have like it's made out of like 3 blocks, A, B, C, and it has also labels to show what how this works. So the first step is you have a paper. Okay, so you have a paper. Usually you want to use this landscape mode, like it's wider than the height. So the first thing is you have to sketch a horizon line. So like I mentioned earlier, the horizon line, the location of the vertical location of the horizon line determines your eye location, okay, relative to the object you're sketching. So if you put your horizon line up, I'm sorry, up there, higher on your paper, that means that your eye elevation is higher than the object, okay? It's like a bird's eye view. If you put your horizon line lower part of your uh, paper, that means you're kind of lower than the object you're sketching. Okay, so you're going to see more like a bottom side of the object. If you want to see more bottom of the object, then you want to put your horizon line like lower part of your paper. If you want to show the top part of the object, and you want to put your horizon line in at the top. Okay, so or if you eye level is like in between, like some part of the object is lower than another part is higher, then you want to put your horizon line like somewhere in the middle. Okay, but in this case, I want to show like this, like I want to see more like a top surface rather than bottom. That's why we draw a horizon line up there like that. Okay, so that's the first step. You want to sketch the horizon line, and the next step is you have to pick your vanishing point. Okay, so again, like I mentioned, we see earlier, the vanishing point location, horizontal location determines the orientation of the object. Okay, so your vanishing point has to be on the horizon line. Okay, so we are sketching 1-point perspective sketch in here. The vanishing point has to be on the horizon line. So it could be there, it could be here, it could be anywhere on the horizon line. But let's say I want to sketch more like in this orientation. I want to see more on these surfaces rather than the back surface. Then you want to put your vanishing point toward the right side of the horizon line. If you put your vanishing point onto the left, then you're going to see more on the left side of the object. So the object will rotate. Okay, but I want to kind of generally maintain like this kind of orientation. That's why I put my vanishing point somewhere there. Okay, so maybe you have to do like a trial and error, like which orientation is best. Uh, so you have to pick a different vanishing point after sketching some, and if it doesn't like it, you have to redo it. And then this is not really a necessary thing to do. You can start sketching anywhere you like, but I think this is a easier way or more structured way of sketching it. Uh, but you have to first decide which area, which direction is important. Okay, so in this case, uh, the reason why I decided to use the 1 point perspective is because these surfaces are important. Okay, the surfaces A and B and C, those are important, and in this case they are same. But let's assume that has some interesting features on those surfaces, and I want to sketch them more. And other sides are like just planes. Okay, so we're not very interested in showing other sides, but these A, B, C surfaces are important and want us focus on and sketching it. That's why we chose the 1 point perspective, because there's only one direction that we are interested in. Okay, so this is my view direction. This is the direction I'm looking at straight on to those important surfaces. And so that direction is perpendicular to the surface A and B and C. And then we want to sort the surface A and B and C uh, based on the distance from your eye. Okay, so here's your eye direction, I, and this distance from the eye uh, to the surfaces, and A is closest, and then B and C are same, but B and C are farther than A. So I'll sketch the nearest surface. I'm going to start sketching the nearest surface. It's not a rule how to do it, but I found it's easier to do this way. Again, you can start any planes, but let's just use this method. Okay, so we're going to start sketching surface A. So in the 1 point perspective, we are looking straight on to the surface A. Again, we are looking normal to surface A. So what you have to do is we have to sketch the surface A as if you're looking straight on. Okay, so in this case, if I look at straight on to surface A, it's going to be just a rectangle, right? This line will be horizontal, this line will be vertical. So one of the rules you can think of is that in perspective projection, any lines that are horizontal in 3D object, that'll stay horizontal in your projected sketch. Any lines that are vertical in the real object, they'll stay vertical line in your sketch, in 2D sketch. Okay, so in this case, there's a top line, and all the lines are all either horizontal and vertical. So you have to sketch that surface A as just a rectangle. Okay, so this horizontal line that will stay horizontal, and these two side lines are vertical. You just draw vertical, so that'll be just 90-degree angle uh, rectangle. So you just draw the rectangle there. That's the surface A. Okay, so once that is sketched, the next step is to sketch the lateral sides. Okay, so this lateral sides, maybe I can, uh, oops, all right, different colors. This lateral sides, this surface here, that surface here, we need to sketch that. But think about it, these two lines, and also these lines, they're all parallel to each other. Okay, so these are parallel to each other, and also the direction of the lines is parallel to my eye direction. Okay, so that's the principle we talked about. If any parallel lines in the object and their direction is parallel to my I direction, they're going to be all converged to this vanishing point. Okay, so in order to draw these lines, side lines, what you have to do is from the position, you just need to draw lines to the vanishing point. So that's why we sketch in here. All these lines, those are the blue lines in the object there, right? And they are parallel to each other and they are parallel to my I direction. So those are all lines has to be pointing converge to that vanishing point. All right. So those are the directions of the side lines, but you have to chop it, right? So we just use certain distance here. So we are doing like freehand sketching. So the exact size is not very important. We want to just sketch the shape. So there may be a way of more exact sizes, but here we are not interested in that. We just want to make a quick freehand sketching. So we just eyeball it and sketch these two lines. Uh, there are, maybe I use a different color here, right? Those two lines are from this line. So as I mentioned, all the horizontal lines of the object will stay horizontal in your sketch, and all the vertical lines in the object will stay vertical. Okay, so that's the way you sketch it. So this frontal block is sketched here. So you can continue to that. The surface B and C, and because they are you're looking straight on, so you for the surface B, you just need to draw like a square, more like a square, and then there's another rectangle for surface C. Okay, and then you repeat the same thing. So these lines, all these lines are parallel to each other. Right, they're all parallel to each other, and they are all parallel to my I direction. So they're going to be all also pointing to the same vanishing point, right? So we'll do the same thing here, and then we'll also cut it by a certain distance. Okay, just eyeball it, cut it, and you're gonna make a sketch of this object, right? So that's how we can use sketch this. This is actually orthographic. This is actually orthographic. So here, as you can see here, regardless of where that is located, this height and then height is identical. Okay, but in here, this height is higher than the back line. Okay, as it moves towards the vanishing point, meaning that the object gets farther away, this height gets smaller and smaller. Okay, so this is a perspective sketch, and that's an orthographic orthographic uh, object. Okay, so this is how you can sketch the 1 point perspective drawing.